You ever watch someone get drenched in the middle of a storm, like completely soaked, but the thing that really broke them wasn't the rain. It was how invisible they felt in that moment. Yeah, that was him. It was late October when that flash flood hit Brooklyn. Power was out, phones dead, the city turned to soup. And there he was, Jordan Ellis, CEO of the tech firm I worked for, standing outside our office building like a lost executive mannequin. Expensive coat dripping phone, useless pride slowly dissolving in the rain. I wasn't supposed to talk to him. I mean, I was just admin. No fancy title, no corner office, just me and my 5-year-old Ava trying to make rent in a city that charges you for breathing. But something about the way he looked, like he didn't know whether to wait or run, made me pause. "You don't have anywhere to go, do you?" I asked, raising my voice over the storm. "My place isn't much, but it's dry, and the soup's still hot." He hesitated, just stared at me like he was still processing the kindness. I offered him my umbrella, and just like that, this man who never even made eye contact in the hallway nodded and followed me 6 blocks through wind trash, flying sirens, screaming. That night changed everything. My apartment smelled like lavender and laundry detergent. Ava ran up with her little elephant plush and said Mommy made stew like she was hosting royalty. Jordan, still dripping, managed a smile. "Thank you." I handed him a towel and some old clothes that used to belong to my brother. He disappeared down the hall to change, and I set the table nervous. He'd notice how cracked the plates were or how close to eviction I was. I'd been holding it together with duct tape and hope. And then the knock came. My landlord, Glenn. Gray comb-over breath like stale beer and a permanent chip on his shoulder. "It's the 28th, he said before I could even say hi. "I know, Glenn. I get paid Friday." "You said that last month," he snapped, trying to peer past me. "Got company tonight." "That your man?" "No, You people always got excuses. New clothes takeout, but no rent. I ought to toss you right now." Before I could speak, a voice behind me cut through like a blade. "I do actually," Jordan said, stepping into the light. Hair still damp, but wearing my brother's Duke hoodie like it was a tailored suit. "And if I hear you talk to her like that again, I'll make sure the city hears about it too." Glenn blinked. "Wait, you're Jordan Ellis. You run that downtown firm." Jordan didn't answer. "I didn't think a man like you'd be out here slumming it." "You need to leave," Jordan said. Firm, ice cold. Glenn scoffed. "Defending her, huh? Let me tell you something, women like her always playing victim, always wanting a handout." He shoved the door halfway open. "You miss rent again and I'll toss your stuff onto the sidewalk. Kid or no kid." Jordan stepped in between us like a wall. "Touch her again," he said low, "and I'll have your license pulled before sunrise." Glenn spat on the floor and left. And just like that, I realized something. Jordan Ellis wasn't just a CEO with a frozen phone and an empty fridge. He was someone who had no idea what real people dealt with until now. Later that night, as the storm raged outside, he stood by the window and whispered, 4 years ago. Flash flood. My wife didn't make it. My son did." I didn't say anything, just stood beside him. 2 strangers connected by grief we never asked for. "I pretend it didn't happen most days," he said. "I know that trick," I told him, "pretending to be made of iron." He looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. "You're braver than I am." Maybe I said, or maybe I just can't afford to break. We sat in silence after that. Not romantic, just real. But the next morning, the world went back to sharp edges. At the office, I wasn't the woman who sheltered the CEO. I was still that admin girl, still invisible, until the data server crashed, and Jordan dropped my name in front of the entire board. She had the only working mitigation plan, he said. People blinked, like they'd just discovered I existed. And just like that, they started watching, not in awe, in suspicion. Angela Preston, VP of Client Relations, cornered me in the break room. "Let's not confuse acts of kindness with promotion tracks," she smiled. "You're competent, Maya, but don't play above your level." I stared at her. I didn't ask for anything. No, but people talk. That's the thing. In the places like that, when you rise too fast, especially while black, female, and a single mom, people assume you must have climbed using someone else's ladder. Then came the envelope. No return address, just my name. Inside, a grainy photo of me and Jordan from the storm. Ava's hand in mine, his coat flapping open. A note pinned, "How far will you go?" That was when I knew this wasn't about corporate politics. This was war. So I did what I do best. I documented everything, badge logs, timestamps, email traces. Turned out it was Darren, an Eastman consultant who'd been lurking a little too long by my desk. I filed an ethics report, quiet, clean, no CEO backup, no drama. That afternoon, I confronted the whole team. If you've got concerns, say it to my face, not in shadows. Silence. Natalie from compliance gave me a nod. Darren's knuckles turned white. By that evening, he was suspended. But snakes don't go down easy. Next came a formal HR inquiry, an anonymous complaint accusing me of sleeping with the CEO to earn my position. I laughed. Let me get this straight. I survive harassment, lead a multi-million-dollar project. And your response is to accuse me of seduction. They didn't blink. This is just due diligence, they said. No, it was punishment for not staying in my place. So I asked to speak, not to HR, to the whole damn company. All hands meeting. 10 minutes, I said. I stood before them hands steady. You want to know why I'm here? Because I earned it. Because I did the work when no one noticed. Because when a man was drowning in a storm, I didn't see a CEO. I saw a human being. And now someone's twisting that into something dirty. Because they can't imagine a black woman rising on her own merit. Silence. Until Jordan stepped forward. The complaint, he said, was retracted this morning. Angela was nowhere in sight. But they kept coming. Another envelope. Leah's stuffed bunny lost during the storm showed up in a box. A note pinned to its ear. Nice dinner, cute kid. Be careful what you treasure. That's when the fear turned into fury. They crossed the line, and I stopped playing defense. With help from Clara, a sharp-eyed analyst, we traced the embezzlement back to Angela. Trapped her in a meeting. Exposed everything. And when Angela laughed and said, "You think this ends with me?" I looked her in the eye. No, it starts with you. But the rot went deeper. There was someone behind her, a man named Malcolm Crane, silent investor board manipulator, the shadow behind the power. We confronted him too, in the boardroom, publicly. I'm the storm you didn't prepare for, I said. He smirked. And that's when Miss Patel, another board member, cleared her throat and said, "Mr. Crane, I believe it's time you step down." Game over. The expose hit front pages. Abuse, fraud, cover-ups. I didn't want to be the symbol. I just wanted to be the reason no one else had to carry this alone. Last week, someone left another note on my desk. Typed, anonymous. You're more dangerous than I thought. I smiled, folded it once, and dropped it in the shredder. Let them whisper. Let them panic. Because I'm not going anywhere. I'm not afraid anymore. And I don't need a cape to be a hero, just a daughter watching. And the courage to never back down. Now let me ask you this. Why do some people still assume power only comes dressed in a suit, holding a degree from the right school, or carrying the right skin tone? Have you ever been underestimated? Ever watched someone rise when they were supposed to fold? Tell me in the comments, have you seen injustice like this, and what would you have done? Let's talk about it. Right here, right now. Because the storm may have passed, but the fight for respect still raging.